What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Gmi's World Podcast, and today we're going to be talking about the firing of Minnesota Vikings offensive coordinator John DeFilippo. Pretty much it comes after poor Kirk Cousins' play versus Seattle Seahawks, and we're going to go ahead and talk about it because it's a possibility he was the Eagles QB coach, and I think that he had a lot to do with Carson Wentz turning his career around and becoming a better quarterback, but we'll talk about that later. What we're going to touch on right now is the fact that somebody always has to take the blame, right? But let's just look at the whole picture of what Kirk Cousins really is. I spoke about it prior, about the whole thing with the Redskins. I spoke about why they didn't want to sign him, why they franchise tagged him, and we're able to see it now. What does that mean for the Vikings? All right, let's go ahead and put it right all on the table, right? Viking fans, you're stuck with him for 3 years. All right, like it's point blank period. Unless the owner is willing to just lose the money and not have him play, which I have seen other owners do. We've seen other owners just be like, you know what? You suck, bro. We're going to pay you, but we're going to make your life a living hell while you stay here. That's another option, okay? But the issue with that is it doesn't really matter because all he has to do, Kirk Cousins, is stay within the stipulations of the contract and just show up to work, and he's fine. So they can do whatever they want to do, but he knows his check is still coming. The issue is this, right? The team right now, they don't like the fact that he's playing like that, and it's like nothing they can do. So I don't know how much the team is either going to rally around him or if they're going to be separated. We're going to have to wait to see how that's going to work. But watching his post-game interviews, it doesn't seem like the motivation isn't there. And look, you guys, I'm not mad at Kirk Cousins. You know, I have no, vested interest in this either way. I just feel for the Viking fans because Case Keenum, I believe, would have had you guys in a much better situation, but everybody is always going for that sparkling beauty. They're always going after that big surprise. They're not able to just be able to tolerate and to deal with what they have because they always want more. When defensively, they're not as good as they were when Case Keenum was there, but they're still top 3 in certain things, top 10 in other defensive categories. They're still a pretty solid defense. And all they really need is somebody to be able to, logically make a decent play. And this guy has been consistently disgusting. So I don't know if you can really blame John for everything that's transpired with Kirk Cousins, but somebody has to take the blame. So like I said, either way, I can't really, say, all right, the play calling was bad, whatever. He was making very, very bad reads. Kirk Cousins, I was looking at some film yesterday. ESPN was showing some detailed film about the decisions that he's made and how the fact that he's 0-7 in Monday Night Football. He hasn't beaten a team that was above 500, stuff like that. And I'm evaluating his games and I'm looking at it like, this guy is really bad. But I tried to defend him with the Redskins because he had certain games where he threw for like 400 yards and he didn't really have good offensive linemen, and there was a lot of other things that were going on with it. And those type of things, you try to give a guy a benefit of the doubt because if you don't have protection, it's going to be, you're going to have some issues with it. So you try to, have some leeway with it, but then you're looking at this and you're like, wait a minute, this defense is really, really good compared to what he had when he was with the Redskins. So if you're able to do even a fraction of what you were doing with the Redskins in certain games, the Vikings shouldn't be in this situation. So for most of you guys that are wondering, why would they just make this move? Somebody had to get fired. You're not going to fire Mike Zimmer. You see what I'm saying? You can't really fire Mike Zimmer for that, I don't think, because Mike Zimmer is really a defensive-minded coach, and I think the defense is still playing. Like I said, they're not as good as they were last year, but they're pretty good. So you can't fire him. Who do you fire? You gotta fire somebody because that was a debacle. And when you look at the fact that he's hard cap, that dude is hard cap, like $29 million next year. You know how many things you could have done if you don't sign Kirk Cousins? And that's what I don't understand. And people get mad at Bill Belichick for a lot of the things that he tries to do, but that's the one thing that he doesn't do. And if he does make a mistake, like say he signed somebody and that person wasn't worth it, he doesn't care, bro. That guy is gone. And a lot of these owners don't understand. It's better to get rid of them when it's like this now. Like Kirk Cousins, in my opinion, right? I would let him play out this year, and I would try to shop him. See, I don't know if, pretty much with the way that his contract is fully guaranteed. I don't know, if it's like the NBA with LeBron's contract, no trade clause, stuff like that. But I would try in my best to get rid of him because I don't think it makes any logical sense to keep this man there. This is his ceiling. Just so you guys know that, because remember, it's not like he's going to just come into his own and be, this is what he's always been. It's just that he's been able to, like, he was able to get people that felt bad for him based on the situation he was in. Why won't the Redskins sign him? What's going on with that? And we already know the Redskins just do whatever they want, but this was actually a good decision by them. This was actually a good decision to just let this guy go. Because like I said, if you guys go back and you look, or you can just, look for it on YouTube and you look at some of the plays that this guy has made, it's been really disgusting. And with Stephon Diggs, okay, Adam Thielen, you got, a very, very decent tight end. You know what I'm saying, bro? Like what exactly are you doing? I don't do you know what Tom Brady would do with this? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you know what Drew Brees would, like Drew Brees has a pretty decent thing, but he only really has Michael Thomas. If you give this guy weapons like this, all these other premier quarterbacks, because this guy's getting paid like a top QB. Notice I'm not going to say other guys' names like Matthew Stafford. That guy sucks, man. But that's not what this is about. It's not about Matthew Stafford and me always saying something about Lions fans, you know what I'm saying, thinking that they're psychopaths. That's not what this is about. It's not about Calvin Johnson retiring early and Barry Sanders walking away in a rage. It's not about that, Lion fans. What I'm trying to talk about right now is the fact that the Vikings are not going to make the playoffs. And I'm going to tell you why they won't make the playoffs. It's very, very simple, right? The Bears got this. I'm gonna go ahead and say that. Even if the Bears, they lost that game, they lost to the Giants. I don't know how it happened. You know what I'm saying, bro? Things happen that are wild. It just turned out that that's the way that it occurred. But the Bears most likely going to win that division with the record that they're probably going to have, unless the defense is able to score touchdowns like they're the offense. Kirk Cousins is a terrible quarterback. Like I didn't really want to call this man a terrible quarterback. But after watching like all the footage for the games that they played thus far in the 2018 season, I'm disgusted, bro. I'm absolutely disgusted. And yes, Adam Thielen has over 100 receptions. Diggs probably is going to have over 100 receptions and stuff like that. Those are like empty yards, bro. Those are not, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like he's doing that in most of the time in winning efforts. He's just, just throwing the ball up. And a lot of the plays that we thought were like really, really accurate, this guy has his eyes closed. Go back to it and check it out. He's trying to pull an Eli Manning. Look, guys, I just had to make sure that everybody understands because the Viking fans wanted to know. Some of you guys were asking, what do you think? Do you think they're going to make the playoffs? I absolutely do not think they're going to make the playoffs. I absolutely, John was fired simply because somebody has to be the scapegoat. They couldn't have fired, Zimmer. They can't get rid of Kirk Cousins because of the hard cap and his guaranteed money. So it's a very difficult situation. And it really bothers me because, like I said, I thought the Vikings were like one step away from going back to the Super Bowl and possibly winning it. Because defensively, I think they can play with anyone. They haven't been as good as they were last year, but I thought with the makeup that they have defensively, they would be able to stay in the game. You know what I'm saying? They got a decent running back. Like they got everything that's needed. It's just the QB position. And I want any of you guys to tell me with a straight face that you don't think that Case Keenum would have had this team, a lot better than it is. You know what I'm saying, bro? You can't really do anything. And Shannon Sharp from Undisputed made a very, very good point. You can't just start handing the ball off to these guys, Latavius Murray and my other dude, the second-year running back. I forget his name. You can't do that when you're paying the QB so much money. So, I think his name was Cooks, right? You can't really do anything. You have to let him throw the ball because you're paying him so much. But that's the issue. I think that they have to do more of what it takes to actually win the game instead of focusing on having to make this guy throw the ball just because you're paying him that money. Because when it's time for him to make, decent throws, he's not a Ben Roethlisberger, bro. And when I say that very hesitantly because Ben Roethlisberger will throw a pick and not care about anything and then rage at his teammates. He will throw the ball right to the defender and then go on the sideline and rage at the wide receiver. Why didn't you jump in 10 yards? I overthrew you by 10 yards. You should jump higher. Like, what? Big Ben, what are you talking about, bro? Like, but again, he can still air it out and still make a lot more decent plays when it comes to, like, I can't say he's clutch because he always loses to the Patriots in the last second, but I'm just trying to give you guys some comparisons. He's not winning any big games. Kirk Cousins is not doing anything that's spectacular. He's absolutely not worth the money, but I'm not mad at him because he got what they were willing to pay him, but this sets the Vikings back for 3 years because of the hard cap money. Unless they're able to swallow it, cut him, release him, do whatever you got to do with him, and get somebody else in there and just figure out another way to go about it. I don't see any other way. But I'm going to go ahead and predict that this is going to be a very disappointing season in the end, and the Minnesota Vikings probably won't make the playoffs, unfortunately. Thank you for watching. Until next time, one love.